Hello guys. Um, this is the video I'm going to tell you a little bit about that whole thing with my blood sugar, okay? So first I need to add, Claire, if you're watching this, this might be kind of boring, hun. So um, you don't have to watch this video. I appreciate that you are wanting to follow my videos, but this could be kind of boring. I'm just going to be talking about health stuff. Ugh. Okay, so this is the situation. I have always had hypoglycemia since I was very young. We learned as girls, my sister and I both have it. We learned as girls to maintain our blood sugar just by eating a balance of protein and carbs. So mostly protein. Protein kept like it was really important that if we got our blood sugar back up, then we needed to balance it for sure. And we hardly ever crashed. I don't know. I don't recall everything. Possibly my mother did a lot of research because her girls had hypoglycemia. We did not have diabetes. So that's all I know. And then, so about 2 years ago, I was at the ER and I had a insurance called Kaiser Permanente. And while I was there, I don't know if maybe they didn't do anything wrong. I was there for abdominal pain and they didn't want me to eat. So when I went to them, my blood sugar was 69 when I told them that I was starting to feel a little bit shaky and I had hypoglycemia. And so they didn't want to give me a juice because they didn't want to put anything on my stomach, which, I could drink water, so why not just give me juice? But okay, whatever. Anyway, just no food, right? So they decided to give me this. It was only 69 at that point. They decided to give me this bolus. It's a big giant tube of dextrose, and they gave me the whole entire thing, and it shot my blood sugar up that day to 229. It had never ever been that high before. Man, I broke out in a sweat and I was like, woo, wow, this is not okay. I don't like the way I feel. So then after that, I think it irritated my pancreas. I'm not a doctor, but this is because when my doctor started checking my A1C, which periodically she did anyway, my A1C was elevated just a little bit. It was like 5.7 or 5.8 or something like that. And so she told me I was pre-diabetic. And it pretty much stayed that way for about 2 years. And then it started inching back down. So the last time my A1C was checked, it was 5.3. So, of course, she's still going to continue to check my A1C. Now I have a new insurance. And I don't know if it's like really low, if maybe my A1C is like tanking or something. I don't know what's going on, really. All I know is now, for 2 years, I did not have to be careful, okay? Maybe I should have been careful. Maybe I should have stayed on my same, I don't know, maybe I thought it was fixed, who knows? Because I always made sure that I ate in the morning before I left for work. And I would eat 2 eggs or something with peanut butter, something with protein. And then it just went back to the way it was before. Well, right at the moment, it seems like it's worse than it was. I'm having a heck of a time with my blood sugar dropping, and then I'll tell you something right now, it's a lot easier during the week because when I'm getting ready for work in the morning, I have like my regimen, okay? So I eat something before I walk out the door so my blood sugar doesn't crash. I even did that when it was the A1C was a little bit high because maybe I still had that in my head. I never went to work hungry, and it affects my whole day, right? So that's what happened. I got lazy this morning and I hung out sitting around and I drank a cup of coffee, which I drank black, and my body was ready for some calories now or something, and I didn't give it to it. Then I started noticing that I was shaking, so I ate. But when I went to go see my doctor on Monday of this week, I talked to my doctor and I told him, look, we need to put that I have hypoglycemia in my record because I have been maintaining it all of my life. I didn't even say anything to my new physicians or even, I mean, Kaiser kind of knew about it, but I didn't even say anything to my new physicians because it was something that I had under control, completely under control. So, and then of course I had the bee sting and I had to, have him put that in the file too so that they knew I had a moderate bee allergy and I have hypoglycemia. And of course he asked me, why do you have hypoglycemia? And I was like, I don't know. I've had it since I was a kid. And he asked me a few questions, and it's the fasting kind. So he said, well, you're gonna have to talk to an endocrinologist to find out, why you're having this. All right, cool. So the problem that I'm having right now is keeping it balanced because it is so much harder to get it back into balance again after letting it crash. But when I was young, if it crashed, I got it back into balance pretty quick. And I didn't have this up, down, up, down, up, down thing that I'm having right now. So I don't know what's going on. But the doctor, when I went to see him, he's like, well, what did you do? And I says, well, I ate protein, Well, maybe I did. I ate protein to maintain it. I didn't so much eat protein to get it back up. Because I did try that the last time this happened. I think it was last weekend. And it just took like all day. I'm telling you, 4 hours to get myself feeling human again because it just makes me tired and lethargic and all kinds of stuff. So, and I ended up having to take my granddaughter home because I just wasn't feeling well. And that kind of bummed me out. I love hanging out with her. She is one awesome kid. So, yeah, so I'm just struggling with this whole thing. So I'll see my rheumatologist, which is an endocrinologist on Monday. So I'll get that taken care of, and we'll get the ball rolling on finding out what's going on. So, I mean, I hate doing Dr. Google, but right now that's what I have. So I looked up fasting hypoglycemia, and fasting hypoglycemia is usually caused by something. So if I had it since I was a kid, even like antibiotics can cause it, okay? So maybe, I mean, I was on antibiotics a lot when I was a kid. I was kind of a sickly kid. And so who knows? Maybe something happened back then. I don't know. I have no idea. So we'll find out. We'll get to the bottom of this. Things like, a tumor on your pancreas, which I know I don't have because they did a CT scan recently, stuff like that. So we'll figure it out. We really will. And I'll keep you guys posted. But it's really frustrating. I mean, I don't have the high blood sugar. And, but this is like today, because I ate something sweet to get it back up. That's what the physician's assistant told me. He's all, you have to eat a piece of candy or, carbohydrates to get it back up. Well, when I was growing up, we learned that you need to balance that out with some protein or it's going to crash, which it did. It didn't crash as badly the second time. So I guess I'll just listen to my mother and not the doctor. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, it's good to listen to the doctor kind of to a degree, but, just maybe if they don't have blood sugar issues or hypoglycemia, you know. Maybe diabetes is different than the type of hypoglycemia that I have. Shush. So, yeah, we'll figure it all out. My dog, I don't know, I was checking to see if he was barking at anything in particular. So, yeah, I'm just like pretty frustrated about this whole thing. And, yeah, and I think one of the other things I wanted to tell you about this particular physician's assistant that's making me nuts is when I first used to go see him, when I had all that flu and everything, and then it turned into a sinus infection, he refused to give me antibiotics. I missed so much work, and I was $400 short on my paycheck because he didn't want to give me antibiotics. And I knew I have a sinus infection, and using the Neilmed and the sinus rinse with the salt, it wasn't working. It just had gone too far. So I finally went in and like, dude, I need antibiotics, but he didn't want to give them to me. And finally I just had to go back in 50 million times and put my foot down. I don't know what he was thinking, but so then I complained to my regular doctor. So when I went back in this last time, he prescribed me the steroids, and then he says to me, better safe than sorry with the antibiotics, when before he was like, no, we don't want to overuse antibiotics, and you got to be careful, you don't want to create a superbug. So dude, it's just like he went from one complete end of the pendulum to the other end. He couldn't just like swing down to the middle and go, no, of course you don't need antibiotics for a bee sting. Yeah, so I'm going nuts. I don't really want to see this guy anymore. He's just making me crazy. So I'm going to have to figure it all out. But my original doctor is leaving now. Great. I just find a guy that I absolutely think is fantastic, and he's a wonderful doctor, and he's moving along. So yeah, that's my whole fiasco with my blood sugar thing. And it's like I'm having to learn it all over again. I'm having to fish through my memory and, how do I maintain this? So I've been maintaining it just fine during the week for work. So that's how I have to maintain it all the time. I have to make sure that I put food in my body at the beginning of the day. And then I'm fine for the rest of the day. I do snack a lot, but I don't snack on junk. I eat fruit and nuts and stuff like that, So I'll get this figured out. I really will. But it would be nice to get to the bottom of it, talking to the endocrinologist to make sure that there isn't something that's causing it, because maybe there's a way that we could make it stop. I'd love that, but I'd still eat properly. That's important, because food is our medicine, and I'm a firm believer in that. Well, that's about it, guys. I just wanted to share that with you real quick because I'm just like, oh man, going nuts with all this stuff. And I'm I got to get out there and pull weeds in my garden, and I have to get my raised beds set up over in the community garden. We're coming up on our last frost date pretty soon. May 20th is our last frost date for here. In Southern California, it's like around Valentine's Day. I mean, down in town, but because I live up where we have a hard frost, I can't put anything into the ground until May 20th. So I'm working on it. Anyway, guys, I love you. Please comment below if you have any suggestions or comments. I'd love to hear from you. Talk to you later. God bless.